My name is Sloane Carter, and I'm 35 years old. The sixth time my boyfriend canceled on me this month, a cork popped in a part of my brain that doesn't make noise. We were supposed to be celebrating our anniversary at Leona's, the place with the bent corner paper menus and a jukebox that thinks the 90s are a season you can set your watch to. I'd dressed the way I always do when I want to win the room without announcing it. A simple black dress, earrings that catch light when I turn my head, perfume that waits until you're close to introduce itself. I was already seated when Ethan texted, "Can't make it." Something came up. It read like a template he'd finally stopped editing. I stared at the words long enough for the waiter to ask if I wanted to start with a drink. I ordered a glass of red, nodded like my insides weren't sloshing, and put my phone face up on the table. His, lately, was always face down. He used to set it face up and forget it. Lately, he guarded it the way people guard small, living things. We'd been talking about moving in together. Not big, just bigger. I had a folder at home, thick with measurements, paint swatches, and the way morning light would land on a living room wall I hadn't met yet. I'd been saving. I'd covered the reservation deposit because he said his paychecks were light with no overtime approved, which made sense until the sixth cancellation made everything stop making sense at once. The first four excuses had a rhythm. Work emergency, migraine, family thing, something came up. The fifth had been car trouble, which I believed because I still wanted to. The sixth one slid over me like cold water. Something didn't add up, and not just the arithmetic of time. Ethan and I started sharing locations last year when he traveled for a conference and kept missing his connections. It was my idea. He said sure. We never turned it off. Somewhere between our first apartment tour and tonight's abandoned table, I had forgotten that the little gray dot still existed. He had too. I opened Find My. The map snapped into place. His dot wasn't at work. Not at his mother's. Not exactly at home. It was parked at Riverside Apartments, a complex whose brick corridors I only knew from one ugly story. Brianna Tillman, the ex he swore had been over for ages, lived there. The X with no contact, stamped across every reassurance. The waiter came by. I asked for the check for the wine I'd taken 2 sips from. I have a tell when I'm angry. I get very calm, like I'm about to perform a complicated task that must be completed perfectly the first time. On my way home, the florist on Grant Street was miraculously open. The bell above the door chimed. "We're closing soon," the woman said, softening when she saw my face. I don't know what my face was doing. Sometimes it narrates before I do. "I need a bouquet delivered tonight," I said. "Riverside Apartments." I gave the address for the main office and asked them to call Brianna Tillman's unit for pickup. 2 dozen red roses, I added, because subtlety has its place, and it's not in messages designed to end things. "And the card?" she asked, pen hovering. I didn't need to think. The words had been forming without permission. "Ethan, since something keeps coming up, I'll save you the trouble of another story. We're done. Enjoy your evening with Brianna. P.S. Your location sharing is still on. Sloane." The florist blinked, then wrote, "I paid for rush delivery, a confirmation, and, this was the ruthless part, a photo of recipient." At home, my apartment felt organized in a way that mocked chaos. I put the dress back on its hanger. I set my earrings in their dish. I washed the 2 lipstick marks from my wine glass until the water ran clear. Then my phone began to vibrate like a trapped bee. Ethan calling, declined. Ethan calling, declined. Ethan calling, declined. Text, please pick up. Text, it's not what you think. Text, the flowers went to the wrong place. I'm at my mom's. Call me. The delivery confirmation landed next. Delivered to Riverside Apartments office. Photo attached. A hand taking the bouquet at a counter I recognize from real estate photos. Something about the fluorescent light in leasing offices makes everything look like a decision you can't undo. I turned off red receipts and opened a new note. I wrote down dates, times, excuses, and the exact wording of each something. I scrolled back through bank statements and found that last Friday's working late had no overtime pay to prove it. I wasn't building a case. I was building a mirror. The night stretched. My phone kept hiccuping with messages. Please, please just talk to me. I put it on Do Not Disturb and lay on the couch, listening to the building breathe. I imagined the moment he realized the bouquet wasn't for Brianna. Not really. It was for him. It was for us. The version of us that only works when both people tell the truth. In the morning, his dot was at his place. The part of me that wanted a clean story, some version where he'd been noble and I'd been paranoid, was still alive and kicking, even as the evidence stacked like plates in a sink no one wanted to wash. Then I made a small, mean decision I don't regret. I checked Brianna's publicly set social media. Quiet. I checked the Riverside community hashtag because people tag everything. A grainy 2:12 a.m. Story flickered up from a resident's window. 2 red blurs in a vase on a kitchen island. No caption, just a tired thinking emoji. It could have been anything. It looked like everything. At 10, my doorbell camera pinged. Ethan. He stood on my landing with puffy eyes, wearing the sweatshirt I sometimes stole and never returned. He knocked for 20 minutes, cycling through my name. Sloan, please. Then Sloan, I can explain. Then Sloan, this is crazy. He tried the gentle voice, then the edge, then the silence that begs to be filled. Please, he said to the camera, looking straight into it, like looking into me. Give me 5 minutes. I stayed quiet. Around noon, a DM from Mark, his friend, slid into my requests. What did you do to Ethan? He's wrecked. Flowers with a breakup note? Brutal. Then Tyler chimed in. He was helping someone who lost a parent. You're overreacting. There it was, the plot twist they'd agreed on overnight. I didn't answer, not yet. By late afternoon, my head had cleared the way air does after a storm that doesn't quite rain. I texted one sentence to Ethan. You were at Riverside for 3 hours during our anniversary dinner. I watched the typing bubble appear and disappear, like a distressed signal without a fire. She needed a friend, he wrote at last. She's been going through something. I didn't want you to take it the wrong way. Wrong way, as if there were a right way to be lied to. I typed and deleted 6 times. Then I wrote what I meant. If she needed a friend, you could have told me. You didn't. You lied 6 times. The truth wasn't invited. I set the phone face down, my face now, and went to make coffee I didn't want. When the cup was half gone and my stomach was all nerves, another message arrived. Can we talk in person? I'm downstairs. He wasn't. The dot showed him on the highway. Headed somewhere, headed nowhere. Headed, as ever, toward a story he thought he could sell. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened a browser tab and typed, Joseph Tillman obituary. If I was wrong, I wanted to be wrong with receipts. The page loaded slowly, as if it knew what I needed it to say. August 2019. A smiling man with Brianna's eyes. Flowers in lieu of. The ache of facts that don't care who we want to be. The thing about moments like these is that they don't explode. They freeze, and you find yourself inside them, moving carefully, labeling drawers. I added the obituary date to my note. I screenshotted the 6 cancellations. I saved the delivery confirmation. I saved the photo. Every piece was a steadying hand. That night, another message, soft as a bruise. I'm coming by your work tomorrow. We need to fix this before you make it worse. The choice of pronoun, you, landed exactly where he meant it to. I took a breath, set my alarm, laid out my blazer. If there was going to be a scene, it would be on my terms, under fluorescent lights where everyone could see the script. Tomorrow would be the lobby performance. Tonight was just the quiet before, and in that quiet, I allowed myself one reckless thought. Sometimes the most merciful thing you can do to a lie is to stop feeding it. Part 2. The lobby performance. The next morning started with a hum in my chest I couldn't name. Not anger, not sadness. Something quieter, like focus dressed as calm. I got to work early, just in case. The building's glass lobby reflected everything twice. Me, the front desk clerk, pretending not to stare at his phone, the elevator blinking lazy numbers upward. When the first text arrived, I'm downstairs, I already knew he would be. Ethan sat on one of the lobby chairs, elbows on knees, a to-go coffee sweating between his palms. He looked smaller than I remembered. Maybe it was the daylight. Maybe it was the absence of control. He stood when he saw me, relief spreading across his face like sunlight across glass. Sloan, thank God. Please, just listen. You've got 2 minutes, I said, keeping my tone flat. And we're talking right here. A few coworkers glanced over, pretending to check their phones. He followed my lead, staying in the middle of the lobby, where security cameras and witnesses were plenty. Can we at least go outside? He asked. 1 minute, 50 seconds. He exhaled, rubbed his face. It wasn't what you think. Brianna, her dad passed away last month. She's been spiraling, drinking. I was trying to keep her from doing something stupid. So you canceled 6 dates and lied about where you were, out of charity. I folded my arms. You're a saint. I was trying to help someone who needed me, he snapped. You wouldn't understand. Try me. She didn't have anyone else. She called me crying, said she missed her dad. I couldn't just hang up. So you went over there, repeatedly, lied to me, reassured me nothing was going on while sitting on her couch. That's not help, Ethan. That's cowardice wrapped in empathy. He opened his mouth, then closed it. You're twisting this. No, I said quietly. I'm untwisting it. A few people nearby were absolutely pretending not to listen. I gave him one last out. You said her dad passed away last month? Yes, he said, certain. I leaned closer so no one else could hear. He died 5 years ago. He blinked. What? August 2019. I looked it up, which means either she lied to you or you lied to me. Take your pick. He stared, mouth open, but no words came. The silence was confirmation enough. Time's up, I said. Don't wait in the lobby again. I turned for the elevator. He didn't follow. By lunchtime, my coworkers had run out of creative ways to pretend they weren't talking about it. I caught bits. He's still down there, and she really said 5 years ago, as I microwaved my leftovers. When I checked my phone, it was full of missed calls, texts, and the digital residue of someone trying to rewrite a story before it dried. Then came the messages from his friends. Mark. He told us what happened. You really blindsided him with that flower stunt. Brutal, Sloan. Tyler. She needed help. You overreacted. You're making him look bad online. Online? I checked social media. Brianna hadn't posted, but someone else had. A vague, performative post from Megan, one of her friends. If you've ever been made to feel unsafe or controlled, know you deserve love that lets you breathe. Ethan had liked it. Brianna had commented, 3 hearts. I stared at the screen until it blurred. Unsafe, controlled, words that turn truth into smoke. So I did something that used to terrify me. I posted. Not a paragraph, not a rant, just a single screenshot. A Find My iPhone map with a timestamp from our anniversary night. The blue dot, me, at Leona's restaurant. The gray one, him, at Riverside Apartments. Caption. When you think he's working late, but Find My says otherwise. PSA. Location sharing works both ways. I locked the comments to friends only, then turned off my phone. By the time I checked again that evening, the damage was done. Dozens of mutuals had seen it. A few asked quiet questions in my DMs. Wait, wasn't he with you that night? Didn't she say her dad died years ago? Oh my God, Riverside? Ethan's call came 20 minutes later. I let it ring out. Then another. Then another. Finally, a text. You're humiliating me. Take it down. I replied, you humiliated yourself. I just provided a map. He sent back, you're making a scene. My mom's furious. Perfect, because I had questions for Diane, too. The next morning, her number flashed on my screen. Sloan, sweetheart, she began, the way she used to when she liked me. Jessica explained. Sorry, Ethan explained. Everything. This is a big misunderstanding. Is it? I asked gently. Because I have 6 cancellations, 1 bouquet delivery, a location log, and an obituary that disagrees with his story. He was trying to be kind, she said quickly. Brianna's been through a lot. Then maybe he should be with her. Seems like they have a rhythm. Don't be cruel, Diane said sharply. That stunt with the flowers was humiliating. Humiliating, I repeated. You mean like sitting alone at an anniversary dinner while your boyfriend lies about his whereabouts? He just needed to help someone. Whose father died 5 years ago. Silence, then a brittle laugh. That's not true. It's public record, Diane, August 2019. Another silence, then, well, that can't be right. Google it. She hung up. I waited. She didn't call back. That night, a text from Ethan. We need to talk. I never lied about loving you. I read it twice. Then once more, just to feel the hollowness of it. Love, when it needs a defense, is already gone. I turned my phone face down, powered off the lamp, and lay awake, with the glow of the city scraping through the blinds. There's a special kind of quiet that comes after betrayal, the kind that doesn't hurt, just hums. It's the sound of a woman memorizing the truth. Tomorrow, I thought, I'll start locking things down, screenshots, records, statements, because when people start rewriting history, you'd better have the receipts. And sure enough, by the weekend, the universe handed me the next one. Saturday morning, my car. A deep, deliberate scratch from front to back. The beginning of the next act. Part 3. Paint on metal. When I saw the scratch, it didn't even look real at first, just a reflection caught wrong in the morning light. Then I ran my hand over it. Metal flaked beneath my fingers. It started at the headlight and ran clean through to the tailgate, deliberate and deep. The kind of line someone draws when they want you to feel it every time you look at your car. I checked the security cam. There, in grainy black and white, a hooded figure. Small frame, quick movements. But the shoes gave it away. White Nikes with a hot pink stripe. The same pair I'd bought Ethan last Christmas because he said bright colors made running less miserable. My throat went dry. I paused the footage, took a screenshot, then played it again, watching the figure disappear into the dark. 5 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Ethan, hope you like your car's new paint job. That's what you get for humiliating me. No hesitation. I took another screenshot, then 3 backups. Sent one to my lawyer friend Julia with no context. She replied within a minute. Keep that, trust me. So I did what any calm, furious woman would do. I filed a police report. They couldn't confirm identity without a clear face, they said, but I handed over the footage, the text, and the timestamp. This helps, the officer said, which was bureaucrat for he's in trouble. Insurance called later that afternoon. Repairs, $2,400. Deductible, $500. My mood, priceless. I brewed coffee, opened a document on my laptop titled Receipts, and added a new section, Vandalism plus Admission of Guilt. Then I printed it, because clouds can crash and memory fades, but paper doesn't lie. 3 days later, I got a visitor. Not Ethan, Brianna. The knock came while I was watering my plants, the kind of knock that tries to sound polite, but comes from someone rehearsing a speech. When I opened the door, she was standing there in leggings and a sweatshirt 2 sizes too big. The sweatshirt was his. Of course it was. Sloan, she said, voice too bright. Can we talk? I leaned against the frame. I think we're past the talking stage, don't you? Her smile faltered. You made things worse than they needed to be. Worse? I raised an eyebrow. Your boyfriend keyed my car. He sent me a confession. I filed a report. He was upset. You posted private things online. Private things? I echoed. You mean his location at your apartment? Funny, he didn't think it was private when he sent me screenshots of yours to prove how faithful he was. Color drained from her face. You don't understand. Actually, I do, I cut in softly. I just stopped pretending I didn't. She hesitated, then said quietly, He loves you, you know. He just doesn't know how to handle being exposed. Good luck with that, I said, and closed the door. Through the peephole, I watched her linger, her shoulders shaking. Guilt nipped at me for a second, but then I pictured my car, that perfect silver line carved into paint, and the guilt dissolved into something steadier, resolve. That night, Julia came over with takeout and her legal pad. You want to go through with this? She asked. Small claims, I said. Car damage, deductible, maybe emotional distress. She smiled. You sound like me. I'm learning, I said, from the best. We filled out the forms on my coffee table, the smell of sesame noodles hanging in the air. When we finished, Julia looked at me. You know he'll show up, she warned, and he'll bring her. Good, I said. Let's give them something to agree on. 2 days later, a knock again. I expected a delivery. It was Ethan. He stood on my porch like a man rehearsing sincerity. We need to talk, he said. No, we really don't. He stepped closer. You're harassing me. I blinked. I haven't contacted you since you keyed my car. You posted about me. You made me look like someone who vandalizes property and lies to his girlfriend, I offered. You managed that on your own. She's fragile right now, he said. You're making her worse. Fragile people don't destroy cars, I said, and they don't weaponize sympathy. He clenched his jaw. Just leave her alone, and we'll leave you alone. We. I smiled thinly. Interesting choice of pronoun. He shifted. We're together now, okay? Happy? She chose me. There it was. The truth, finally spilling out like gasoline. How long? I asked. When did it start? Doesn't matter now. It does for court records, I said, lifting my phone. You just confirmed the relationship. He froze. You're recording me? One-party consent state, I said sweetly. Perfectly legal. He turned red. You're insane. And you're self-incriminating, I replied. Thanks for the assist. He spun and stormed off the porch, slamming the gate hard enough to rattle the hinges. I stopped the recording and saved it to 3 different folders. Julia texted when I told her. That's gold. Don't delete a second. That night, I sat on my couch, legal forms spread like tarot cards. Every piece of this story had started with trust me. Every piece ended with prove it. Now I could. I looked at the estimate, $2,400 for repairs. Court filing fee, $60. My patience maxed out. I slid the papers into a folder labeled Case 127, Carter versus Miles. The irony wasn't lost on me. How the girl who used to plan color palettes for their shared apartment was now printing evidence in grayscale. I closed the folder, turned off the lamp, and whispered the only line that felt true. Some people don't break your heart. They repaint it with warning signs. The next sound was my phone buzzing with an unknown number. When I picked it up, a voice said, "Ms. Carter, your court date's been set." I smiled into the dark. Perfect timing. Part 4. Receipts and Quiet Seas. Courtrooms don't look like they do in movies. No sweeping mahogany, no echoing gavel. Just stale air, beige walls, and a judge whose face says she's seen every kind of heartbreak with a price tag. I sat at the plaintiff's table with Julia beside me, neat as a scalpel. Across the aisle, Ethan fidgeted in a wrinkled suit that didn't fit his shoulders, whispering to Brianna, who'd come dressed like she thought the judge would grade her on sincerity. Big mistake. When the bailiff called our case, Carter versus Miles, Ethan straightened like he'd been waiting his whole life to look reasonable. The judge adjusted her glasses. "All right, Ms. Carter, your claim states $2,400 in property damage plus court costs and time off work. Let's hear your side." Julia nudged me gently. "Go ahead." I stood. Calm voice, clean facts. "Your Honor, my vehicle was vandalized on the evening of April 17th. I submitted security footage of someone in distinctive shoes scratching my car, followed by a text message from Mr. Miles reading, and I quote, 'Hope you like your car's new paint job.'" I held up the printed text thread. He admits motive, retaliation for a public post he perceived as humiliating. The judge leaned forward. "You have that text?" "Yes, ma'am." I passed it up. She read it, expression unchanged. "Mr. Miles, your response?" He stammered, I was emotional. I didn't mean—" "So you did send it?" the judge interrupted. He hesitated. "Yes, but—" "Thank you." She moved on briskly. "Ms. Carter, continue." I listed each piece of evidence, photos, estimates, timestamps, the recorded conversation where Ethan confirmed his relationship with Brianna. When I mentioned the Find My iPhone location from our anniversary, Brianna made a small, strangled noise. The judge turned to her. "Ma'am, please don't interrupt. You'll have a chance to speak." Brianna blushed crimson. Ethan whispered something that made her eyes fill with tears. When it was their turn, he tried to argue I'd emotionally abused him by posting his location online. The judge tapped her pen. "Did she post your address?" "No." "Did she fabricate any of the information?" "Well, no, but—" "So the location was accurate?" He swallowed. "Yes." "Then that's not defamation. It's documentation." She turned to me. "Anything else, Ms. Carter?" I took a breath. "Just one thing, Your Honor. He keeps saying I humiliated him. I think the word he's looking for is consequences." Julia's mouth twitched. Just once, but enough. The judge's verdict was crisp and merciless. Judgment for the plaintiff. $2,400 for vehicle damage, plus $600 in court costs. Payment due within 30 days. Brianna burst into quiet sobs. Ethan tried to speak, but the judge cut him off with a tone sharp enough to slice. "Sir, you've said enough." Outside, the sky looked washed clean. That kind of pale blue that doesn't promise much, but feels like relief. Ethan caught up to me near the courthouse steps. "Sloan, please," he said. His voice was small now. "She can't pay that. We don't have the money." "There's a payment plan," I said. "The clerk will explain it." He stepped closer, desperation creeping in. "I'm sorry, okay? For everything. I loved you." "No," I said softly. "You loved having me as a safety net while you figured yourself out with her. That's not love. That's insurance." He flinched like I'd hit him. "You're being cruel." I shook my head. "No, Ethan, I'm being clear." Brianna appeared behind him, eyes red, mascara streaked. "This isn't who you are," she told him. I almost laughed. Maybe it was exactly who he was. It just looked different from the outside. They left without another word. A month later, the first payment hit my account. $200. Court-ordered reimbursement. A neat little reminder that justice sometimes arrives by direct deposit. Each month after that, like clockwork, another one. The money didn't fix anything, but it proved something. What happens when you stop arguing with people who lie for a living and start keeping receipts? I canceled Ethan's half of our Cabo vacation the day after court, went alone, slept in a king-size bed that didn't smell like compromise, swam until my lungs burned, drank something blue on a beach that didn't ask me for context. I met strangers, told none of them this story, and let silence be the truest part of it. When I came home, Julia asked if I felt vindicated. No, I said, just done. Through mutual friends, I later heard Ethan and Brianna moved in together. 3 weeks later, she caught him texting another ex. They're working on trust issues. Of course they are. Now, every month when that $200 arrives, I think of how different things could have been if he'd just told the truth once. Just once. Sometimes, I open my banking app and laugh, because the irony never gets old. The man who lied to me now pays me for the damage he caused trying to hide that lie. That's not revenge. That's arithmetic. It's been a year. The paint on my car gleams like it never happened. The quiet in my apartment feels earned, not empty. And when people ask what I learned, I tell them this. Trust your gut when the pattern changes. If someone says it's not what you think, it usually is. Keep screenshots, not grudges. And never underestimate the peace that follows letting people live with the mess they made. Sometimes the bullet doesn't miss you. You just learn to step aside.